So good day everyone. Today I will be tackling about measures of central tendency for group data. So let's first identify our objectives. First one is define the concepts related to measures of central tendency. Then demonstrate how each measure of central tendency, which are mean, median, and mode, is calculated from group data. So the concept of measures of central tendency. Whereas the measures of central tendency are known as the mean, median, and mode, where each measure, when determined, gives the statistician or the observer information about what conclusions can be made about the set of data which it represents. So here we have the formulas for the measures of central tendency. First one is for the mean, and how to solve the mean. So for it, we simply divide the product of frequency and class mark over the total frequency. Then the median, where it's equal to the lower boundaries of median class plus the total frequencies over 2 minus the cumulative frequency before or preceding the median class over frequency of median class multiplied by the class width. And the last one is mode. So for it, we will add the lower boundaries of model class to the difference of the model class and the class preceding it, which is the D1 over D1 plus D2, or difference of the model class in the class succeeding it, multiplied by the class width. So here we have the example. So compute the mean, median, mode of the scores of the students in a basic statistic test. So here are the tables. So we have already been given the scores and the frequency of the scores of the students. So let's solve for the lower boundaries and class mark and the product of frequency and class mark and the cumulative frequency. So first, to solve for the lower boundaries, we will simply subtract all these numbers here to 0.5. So let's say for example 11 minus 0.5 is 10.5, 16 minus 0.5 is 15.5, 21 minus 0.5 is 20.5, 26 minus 0.5 equals 25.5, and so on. So the next thing we'll solve is the class mark. So to solve for it, we'll simply add these two numbers and divide it by 2. So 11 plus 15 over 2 is equals to 13. Then 16 plus 20 over 2 is equals to 18. 21 added by 25 is equals to 23. And 26 plus 30 over 2 equals 28, and so on. Then to solve for the fx, or the product of frequency and class mark, we'll simply multiply this frequency and the class mark. So 13 times 1 is 13, 2 times 18 is 36, 5 times 23 equals 15, 11 times 28 is 308, 12 times 33 equals 396, and so on. Then the last thing we'll do in the product of frequency and class mark is to sum it all up, all these numbers, so we can have the summation of fx, or the product of frequency and class mark. Then the next thing we'll solve is the cumulative frequency. So for it, I will simply copy the first number of the frequency. So here is our new number. Then add this number to the next number, which is 2. 1 plus 3 is 3. 1 plus 2 is equals to 3. Then this will be our new number. 3 plus 5 is equals to 8. Then 8 plus 11 is equals to 19. 19 plus 12 is equals to 31 until we get the same number here in our frequency, total frequency. So first, let's solve for the mean. So simply remember this formula: the product of frequency and the class mark over the total frequency. So simply get this number and this total frequency for number 48, then substitute these numbers in our formula. So 1549 over 48, which would equal to 32.27. So that would be our mean. Next is, let's solve for our median. So let's remember always this formula. Then the next thing we would do is, first, let's solve for our total frequency over 2, which is our basis for our median class. So n is 48 over 2 is equals to 24. So this 24, let's fit this in our cumulative frequency. So 24 cannot be fit in 1, and also in 3, also in 8, 19, but can be fit in 31. So here, 31, 30.5, and 12, this will be our median class. So the next thing we'll do is to look for our lower boundaries. So here we can see our median class, so it will be 30.5. Then our frequency of median class, which is 12, and to solve for the class width, we will simply count 11 to 15. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, total of 5. Then our cumulative frequency. Why is it 19? It's because we must get the number before or preceding the median class, which is before the median class number, which is 31. Before from it is 19. So the next thing we'll do is to substitute all these numbers in our formula, and as we see here, it would be total to 32.58. That would be our median. Next one is our mode. So let's always remember this formula. So to solve for our mode, simply get let's solve for our modal class first. So to identify our modal class, let's base it in our frequency, which has the higher frequency. So it is 12. So this will be our modal class. Then let's look for our lower boundary of modal class, which is 30.5. Then D1. To get the D1 difference of modal class and the class preceding it, simply subtract the modal class 12 of the frequency of modal class 12 before preceding it, which is 11. So 12 minus 11 is 1. Then our D2, difference of modal class, the class succeeding it. So after the 12 is 11, so 12 minus 11 is equals to 1. Then substitute all these numbers and we'll get the answer 33. So that will be our mode. So next example, compute the mean median mode of the height of the students in high school. So here we have the given table. So to get our mean median mode, we first need to solve our frequency distribution. Always remember that. So we have already been given the height and the frequency. The next thing we'll solve are the lower boundaries, class mark, and the product of frequency and class mark, and the cumulative frequency. So again, to solve for the lower boundaries, we'll simply subtract all these numbers here. These are not included, just here, to 0.5. So 135 minus 0.5 is 134.5. Then 140 minus 0.5 is 139.5. 145 minus 0.5 is 144, and so on. Then to solve for the class mark, we'll add these two numbers, then divide it by 2. So 135 plus 139 over 2 is equals to 137. And then 140 plus 144 over 2 is equals to 142. Then 145 plus 149 over 2 is equals to 147, and so on. So next, we'll solve for the product of frequency and class mark. Simply multiply all these numbers here and also here. So 5 times 137 is equals to 685. Next is 4 times 142 equal to 568. Then 147 times 2, 294. 2 times 15 is 2,280. 157 times 12 is equals to 1,884. Then 162 plus 2 times 2 is equals to 324. Then add this all up to get the summation of the product of frequency and class mark. The next thing we'll solve for is the cumulative frequency. So remember, always just copy the first number here, the 5 here, we'll put it. Then next thing we'll do is add this up to the next number of frequency, which is 4. So 5 plus 4 is 9. Then this will be our new number. Then add this new number to the next number of frequency. So 9 plus 2 is 11. 11 plus 15 is 26. 26 plus 12 equals 38. Then 38 plus 2 is equals to 14. So the same as the total frequency. Then let's first solve for the mean. Simply divide the product of frequency and class mark to the total frequency. So here we have the 6,035 as our the total product of frequency and class mark, and our total frequency is 40. So divide them, we get 150.875. Round it off, we get 151 as our mean. Next is median. To solve for our median, let's always remember this formula. Then solve first the total number of frequency over 2, and that will be our basis for our median class. So it will be 40 over 2 is equals to 20. So 20, let's fit in this 20 to our cumulative frequency. So 20 cannot be fit in 5, also in 9, 11, but in 26. So 26, 149.5, and then 15, that will be our median class. So next thing we'll do is to get the cumulative frequency before preceding the median class and lower boundaries of median class, frequency of median class, and then to the class width. So let's get the cumulative frequency first. So to get the cumulative frequency, we must get the number before or preceding the median class. So our median class here is, for the cumulative frequency, is 26. So before that is 11. So let's put that up. Then the next thing we'll get is the lower boundaries, which is 149.5. Then our frequency for median class, which is 15. Then our class width, like I've said before, just start from 135 to 139, that would equal to 5 as the class width. Then substitute all these numbers in our formula. We get 152 as our median. Next is mode. So for our mode, let's first get the lower boundary. But first, let's identify our modal class. So to identify it, let's base it from the frequency which has the highest frequency. So 15 here is the highest, has the highest frequency. So this will be our modal class, and the lower boundary for it is 149.5. So get the missing numbers. So lower boundary is equal to 149.5, and then the class width, count that up, total. Then the D1, simply subtract the modal class of frequency. 15 minus 2 is equals to 13. Then the D2, subtract the modal class of frequency, which is 15, and the class succeeding each, which is 12. So 15 minus 12 is equals to 3. Then substitute all these numbers in our formula. We get 154 as our mode. Then the last example, compute the mean median mode of the age of the students. So here's our table. So as I've said before, let's always get the frequency distribution first to identify the mean median mode. So first, lower boundary, get all subtract all these numbers here to 0.5 here, get the 17.5, 20.5, 23.5. Then the class mark, add these two numbers, then divide it by 2. 18 plus 20 over 2 is equals 19. Then 21 plus 23 over 2 divided by 2 equals 22. Then till we get the answer, all the answers for it. The next thing we'll do is multiply the frequency and class mark. So here, 19 times 1, 22 times 3, 66, 25 times 9, 225, so on, until we add this up, all these numbers, to get the summation of frequency to class mark. Then the next thing we'll do is to solve for the cumulative frequency. So let's copy always the first number of frequency, which is 1. Then add this to the next number of frequency, which is 3. It would be equal to 4. Then this will be our new number. Then add it again to the next frequency, which is 9. Then equal to 13, and so on, until it will equal to the number of frequency, which is 34, total number of frequency. So let's solve for the mean. Simply divide the total frequency of the simply divide the summation of the product of frequency and the class mark over the total of frequency. So we have the number for our total of frequency and class mark, which is 934 over 34, would equal to 27.47 is our mean. Next is our median. So let's always remember the formula. Then the first thing we'll do is to get the median class as our basis. Then 17 will be our basis for our median class. So let's base this in our cumulative frequency. where it will be fit in. So it cannot be fit in 1, 4, 13, but can be fit in 24. So 24, 26.5, and 11 is now our median class. So the next thing we'll do is to get the cumulative frequency before or preceding the class. Then the lower boundaries of median class and the frequency of median class and the class width. So to get the cumulative frequency before or preceding the class is simply look at the median class here. So our cumulative frequency of median class is 24, but before from it is 13, so that will be our cumulative frequency. Then lower boundary, which is 26.5, and then our frequency of median class is 11. And our class width, simply count the number from here to here, 18 plus 18 to 20, which is equal to 3. Then substitute all these numbers to our formula and we get 29.86 as our median. So lastly, our mode. So the last thing we'll do is to to get the model class. So simply by looking at the frequency, which has the highest frequency, which is 11, that will be our model class. Then copy the lower boundaries of model class, which is 26.5 divided by 11, then the class width, which is 3, then D1. So for the D1 is simply subtract the model class of frequency, which is 11, before from it is 9, so subtract them both, equal to 2. Then to get the D2, simply subtract 11 of model class, the frequency of model class, to the number succeeding it, which is 8. So 11 minus 8 is equals to 3. Then substitute all these numbers to equal to 27 as our mode. And that's all. Thank you. I hope you learned something today.